The smell of cedar and varnish is the only thing that's ever really felt like home. And for the last 10 years, this workshop was my sanctuary, my lifeblood, my everything. Julian, my former best friend and business partner, he never understood that. To him, this place was just a stage, and our handcrafted furniture was just a prop for the grand performance of his own success. He was the charismatic face, the smooth-talking salesman who charmed every client and journalist, while I was the ghost in the machine, the hands that bled and calloused to bring his supposed visions to life. When we split the business, the breakup was brutal. He used his silver tongue to convince everyone I was the difficult one, the uninspired journeyman holding him back. In the end, he walked away with the client list and the brand's reputation, leaving me with the four walls of the workshop and a buyout agreement from hell. An agreement that gave me the physical property but left his name tethered to the company's trademark, a poison pill I was too beaten down to see at the time. I thought I could just work, just build, just exist. But the ghosts of his lies were in every shadow, so I decided to sell. A big design firm from the city made me a life-changing offer, a chance to finally cash out, move on, and breathe air that wasn't thick with sawdust and betrayal. All it needed was one last signature from Julian, a final severing of our legal ties. He met me at a coffee shop, a smug smirk playing on his lips. He slid the unsigned contract back across the table and named his price 40% of the sale. He said it was for the goodwill he built. My goodwill, my work, my soul. The old powerlessness washed over me, cold and suffocating. My lawyer said we could fight, but it would take years and the buyer would walk. Julian had me and he knew it. That night, drowning my rage in cheap whiskey, I was tearing through old storage cabinets in the office, looking for anything I could sell for scrap. And then I found it, a dusty archive box. Inside were my old design sketchbooks from the very beginning, filled with every single piece that had made our company famous. Every curve, every joint, every intricate detail, all in my handwriting with my initials and the date in the corner. Beneath them, an old hard drive. I plugged it in and my heart hammered against my ribs. There it was, a digital graveyard of our partnership. Hundreds of emails, me sending Julian a finished schematic. Him replying with, "Looks good, I will present it tomorrow." And then, a week later, an email from him with a link to a magazine article celebrating his latest masterpiece. I had the receipts, all of them. And my revenge wouldn't be a whispered rumor, it would be a gallery opening. I postponed the sale, telling the design firm we needed to clear out a decade of inventory. Then I sent out invitations for a farewell gala and retrospective, a celebration of the workshop's history. I invited every major client we ever had, the editors of every design magazine that ever featured us, and the entire local business community. And of course, I sent a special invitation to Julian, the guest of honor. He arrived beaming, dressed in a tailored suit, ready to soak up the adoration. But the workshop wasn't filled with furniture. The walls were lined with large, beautifully framed prints. On the left was one of my original, dated sketches. On the right was the glossy magazine cover praising Julian as a design prodigy for that exact piece. Over and over down the entire length of the workshop, a silent, damning timeline of his fraud. In the center of the room, a massive projector screen played a silent loop of those old emails, my name as the sender, his as the receiver, for all to see. The celebratory chatter died, replaced by confused whispers that grew into a low, angry murmur. Julian froze, the color draining from his face as he realized what he was looking at. A prominent design journalist who had written glowing profiles of him for years walked right up to him and asked, loud enough for everyone to hear, "Julian, can you explain this?" He was cornered, his entire fabricated legacy collapsing around him in a single, silent moment. I just stood by the workbench, my workbench, and let the truth do its work. The fallout was immediate. The journalist's story wasn't just an expose, it was a coronation. The hidden hands of a master craftsman, the headline read. Julian became a pariah overnight. The design firm from the city called me the next day. They rescinded their original offer. Instead, they offered me an even bigger one, not for the workshop, but for me. A head designer position with full creative control. But Julian's signature was still the problem. He called me 2 days later, his voice a pathetic, broken whisper. He said he would sign everything for free if I just made it all stop. I told him to meet me at my lawyer's office the next morning. He showed up, gaunt and defeated, and signed the paper without a word. My lawyer handed me the countersigned document. I was finally free. Julian stood to leave, but I told him to wait one more moment. My lawyer then slid another document across the table. It was a notice of dissolution for the design firm that had made the offer, the one from the city. I looked Julian in the eye and said, "There was never a buyer." His face crumpled in confusion. I had my lawyer set up a temporary shell corporation to generate the offer. The entire thing, the gala, the press, the life-changing deal, it was all an elaborate stage I built myself. The only thing I ever wanted was to get his name off my life's work. Now I own it all, the building, the tools, the brand, and the truth. Next week the new sign goes up over the door. It's a simple sign, it just has my name on it.